Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's interesting. The weather obviously getting warmer. We're in spring. Summer's not far behind. And I think the first thing we think of is we just want to feel better. We want to look good, especially, wearing less clothes. And that comes down to your food too, as well, feeling better. And that's why we have a certified clinical nutritionist in functional medicine and optimal wellness. Kelly Calabrese joins us again. Hi, Kelly. How you doing?
Hi. How you doing?
Doing very well. You're different in terms of what you do in helping people with their nutrition, with their wellness, because for you, working with somebody, it starts with not just a blood test, but a major blood test, right?
Yes, I own an 80 marker blood test with Quest Diagnostics, and I'm able to see in the blood test, reading the blood test in a functional way to really get to the root cause of what's driving health disorders.
Wow. When we talk about health disorders, give some examples.
Oh, there's so many. We have chronic fatigue, we have autoimmune disease, thyroid disease, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, we have rheumatoid arthritis, we have other autoimmune diseases. There's the gamut: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high lipids. I mean, it's the gamut. People are in pain. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's just everyone. It seems everyone has some kind of issue going on. Without
a doubt. And why is some of that not found in a regular blood test? I mean, obviously, because insurance reasons, I guess it's just a basic blood test, but why can't those things be found in a regular blood test?
Well, we have different training. So the traditional system is looking for pathology, whereas the functional medicine system is looking for functionality. So even in a small blood test, you can pick up some fundamental defects for disease of how I read blood chemistry, but the blood chemistries that are ordered by the traditional system, it's just not enough markers, not enough to see what's really going on.
So when you're reading that, are you interpreting it yourself, or you're going, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm looking at each and every marker, what's out of range, your low or high out of range, and I'm able to give qualifiers to why it's out of range. So I'm really educating my patients on why their blood chemistries are out of range and how we're going to rectify their symptoms.
You can work with people virtually though, right?
Yes, I have patients all over the country.
Wow. Sorry, yeah, because you can take a blood test anywhere, but how do they get the script for the blood test? Is that something that they have to go to their doctor for based on your recommendation? You can do it.
No, it's all through me.
Fantastic.
No, I have the requisition forms. No, I own that blood test, and I give the blood test to my patients with questionnaires, and that's where we start.
So you have, I think it's 6 fundamental defects for disease that you prescribe to, so to speak. What would those be?
So acidemia is when the blood chemistry is in an acid state. When the blood chemistry is in an acid state, it leaches out mineral, causing excess free calcium, which then ultimately causes chronic inflammation, which drives all disease. And then there's oxidative stress, where the cells are rusting, they're oxidizing. There's connective tissue degeneration, which is like bleeding gums or a loose joint, a sprained knee, chiropractic adjustments not sticking. And the last and final fundamental defect for disease is anaerobic metabolism, when the powerhouse of our cell, the mitochondria, is not getting enough oxygen to produce energy to do the different functions, the energy functions of the body.
Let's dig into that last one, because that sounds like what a lot of people probably experience. It sounds like if they've got fatigue, if they're tired. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. There could be so many reasons. And the reason why people are having these health deficits is because they're nutrient deficient, and they also have toxic exposures, which are going to impact the endocrine or hormone system, the immune system, and the neurological system.
Wow. So if somebody reaches out to you, well, let's rewind there. Who would be the perfect person to reach out to somebody like you, a certified clinical nutritionist, and somebody that specializes in functional medicine?
Anyone that's interested in learning about their health and getting to the root cause, those who are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm.
I don't take insurance. I only take health savings and medical savings accounts. So they would have to value themselves enough to step outside the traditional system for the moment and pay out of pocket to find out what's going on with their health.
Yeah, but you know what? That could be somebody that's been to the doctor a bunch of times, has had regular blood tests, has not really identified what the situation is. And doctor may have said, well, I think you're okay. Maybe we'll try a med here and there, but then you're still experience whatever symptoms you're experiencing. And there you go. You're not cured. You still have a problem.
Yeah. A lot of people are just going around the bullseye and they're not hitting the bullseye. And when they work with me, they truly hit the bullseye.
Wow. How did your journey, how did this all begin for you? Because I find it fascinating how deep you go into what others just skim the surface on.
So I was a little girl going in and out of doctors, and they couldn't diagnose me with anything. And they just kept saying it was all in my head. And I didn't realize it truly was in my head until later on when I had a ski accident. But I ended up being diagnosed with hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. And I was able to change my diet and start an exercise program and really be able to keep the symptoms away. But the underlying root cause of what was driving those hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, was not addressed until later on when I had a ski accident. And I was truly down for the count. And so I had to go in and at that time we had computers, and I was able to start researching on the computer my symptoms and what was going on. And what I learned after the ski accident, that it was mercury toxicity, that the dentist, when I was a young girl who was putting amalgams, mercury silver fillings in my mouth, that was causing me to have the health problems. And so I was able to figure out it was mercury toxicity that was causing all my health problems. And so I went down the path, worked with several different people, a biological dentist, a clinical nutritionist who has now passed. He's the one that had trained me. And worked with a doctor who would do chelation, which is another step to detoxification, but it's later on. You can't do chelation with amalgams or mercury in your mouth. So I went down the path, and that's how I got on to doing this. I was a professional fitness trainer, so I ended up going from that field to this field, and now I'm able to help people not just with their blood sugar level, but I'm able to help them with their thyroid problems and all the other problems that I couldn't do when I was a personal trainer.
Wow. It's, that's just amazing when you think about somebody that could be dealing with some health issues and is connected to the fillings in their mouth. And years could have gone by. It sounds like that was your situation.
Yeah.
Just, wow. Sounds like crazy.
A lot of people are having this situation and they're not aware. They don't realize that their toxic mouth is causing them to have toxic disease.
Unbelievable.
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
To your point, I don't know if I shared this with you last time we got together, but in terms of the blood test, I took one, just routine blood test. I still remember. I took it in December. I got a call in, at the end of December, beginning of January. Doctor says, you need to come in. And I'm like, what? Yeah, just come in. And right away, I'm like, whoa, hold on. Tell me what's up. No, just come in. I said, please tell me what's going on. And it turns out and I've always had low blood pressure, no cholesterol issues, nothing ever. It turns out my triglycerides were through the roof, like through the roof. The number was like 600, I think, if I remember correctly. And what it turned out to be was I was working 3 jobs, had taken another one recently, and I was eating protein bars, and I didn't have time. I was like, don't have time for lunch. Let me grab another protein bar. And it was, a balance bar, balance of protein, carbs, and fat. It's got sugar in it. Didn't even realize what I was doing to my health. And I spiked up my triglycerides, got off those protein bars, and it went away. But, fortunately I took that blood test at the time that I took it, but you never know what can change your chemistry, right?
Actually, you just don't know. A lot of doctors, when you see elevated lipids like that, they'll put you on a statin, but you have to do other things. Change your diet, reduce your alcohol intake, exercise, start there first and see. Usually if someone is actually exercising and having a proper diet and not drinking too much alcohol and not taking too much sugar, and they still have elevated lipids, it's due to another toxicity issue that needs to be addressed.
Can you share a situation that you've helped somebody and it made a difference what their situation was? They went from point A to point B.
Yeah, I mean, I have so many different patients that have really improved and really have benefited from the program. And, there's just so many signs and symptoms going on with the person, but people will come to me with fatigue. They'll come to me with anemia or excess iron, which would be hemochromatosis. They'll come to me with sleep disorders and sexual dysfunction and weight issues and hormone imbalances. And those are just symptoms. And I'll get to the root cause by addressing the nutrient deficits, addressing toxic exposure in the form of heavy metals, mercury, pesticides, organic solvents, bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic. So once I look at those and I look at the different hormones, the different immune markers, neurological markers, when I look at all of that, it's really a whole or functional way of doing things where we're not taking pieces and parts, we're actually looking at the whole body and addressing it as one unit, and everything is solved as one unit through nutrient efficiency, detox therapy protocols.
So when you have that situation, somebody's come to you, you're helping them, you've identified what the problem is. How do you help them? How do you get them on the path to back to health? Do you
So
make
it's in
suggestions?
It's in phases. So my program is a 6-month program, just starting out. I mean, people can come for a 1 hour with me and just go over foods, but the 6-month program, we go over foods to eat, foods to avoid, the poisonous foods. But it's a program where it's monthly, where we start out with phase 1, then phase 2, phase 3, all the way up to phase 6 or 7. And in those different phases, we're doing nutrient efficiency. We're talking about the foods that need to be eaten. We talk about detox foods, detox therapies, home remedies. And so it's just according to the individual and where they're at. I mean, people will see a big difference in the program and themselves feeling better within 10 days on the program.
Wow. And the program, is it really centered on diet, or that's the starting point?
Diet is just one aspect of the program. Foods alone are not going to get you back, especially if you're really sick. Foods are going to keep you where you are. Good foods will keep you in a little bit better place, but it's not going to address the hormone dysregulation, the immune impacts, the neurological deficits. Food, we don't have enough nutrients in our foods anymore. That's the problem. Our soils are depleted of minerals and vitamins, and so we don't get those vitamins and minerals in our foods anymore. That's the big problem. That foods aren't healing us like they once did.
Wow. So what in that situation, would you prescribe supplements, or just would you change up the food? Yeah.
Yeah, it's nutrient support systems. It's not just supplements. There's creams, liquids, powders, pills. There's homeopathic remedies, herbal remedies. There's different therapies for each individual, and it goes based off their blood test. I'm not a cookie cutter. You're not going to be put in a box and say this is what's going to work. Like the traditional system will just give people the same thing over and over. So.
To your point, Kelly, about the traditional system, a lot of times because the healthcare system is so overworked, it's almost sometimes impossible to find a primary care physician. You wind up going to an urgent care place, and you've got maybe 15, 16 minutes in that place, and they're not going to really deeply address your situation. It's going to be a Band-Aid. I don't mean a Band-Aid, but I mean, all right, here, take this, see what happens, come back. Where you really identify the problem. It's got to make you feel really good when you know that you're helping people like that.
I just love what I'm doing. I'm in practice 17 years already, and I'm very grateful for my path. I mean, I have my own health situations that I deal with. I'm my own best patient, and I'm in the sandbox with everybody else, and we're all in it together to stay healthy and well and vibrant, pain-free, medication-free, surgery-free, disease-free. That's what we're working towards.
Yeah, we have a question. Jake is checking in from Port Jarvis, New York. And by the way, you can always reach us at instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. He says, I suffer from acid reflux. It's not an ulcer. I've had tests done before, but it's ongoing. Do you have any suggestions for me?
Yeah, so your acid reflux is due to poor hydrochloric acid insufficiency of the gut. So what's happening is your gut is more of an alkaline state when it needs to be in an acid state. And so what happens, and the reason why that happens is because of infection. So there's probably a bacterial viral infection in the gut, and it's causing you to have this impact with acid reflux. So really what it comes down to is getting with me for 1 hour, talking about the foods to eat, foods to avoid, talking about the poisonous foods, doing a couple of supplements that will help change the environment of your gut. And that's really it. That's a simple fix.
See, I've never heard about that, that it's an infection that could be going on for years, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I've never heard it put that way. I've heard about the imbalance. Okay. Maybe bacteria, but not the word infection. Is it an actual infection?
Yes, it's an actual infection, and it's long term, and a lot of people don't realize with medication use, over-the-counter medications will destroy the gut mucosa lining, meaning that there'll become holes in the mucosa lining. So the infection will go into the bloodstream and cause more havoc and more health disorders.
Wow.
Yeah.
For somebody like Jake, would you suggest a blood test as well, just as a baseline, or no?
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. I feel everyone should have a blood test done at least once just to see what's coming down the pike, because I want to do prevention for people.
Well, and that's just, don't get me started on insurance companies because why wouldn't they? And we talked about this before, but it just drives me crazy that they want to save money. So why not be proactive and find something before it turns into something major that's going to be even more costly, just by paying for that, the insurance company paying for that high level blood test? It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either, but there's no money in getting well. The insurance company and the system, the pharmaceutical company, insurance company, all the systems are connected. So, but I feel with everybody being sick, even if we did the right things, there'll still be enough money to go around. There'll still be enough opportunity. People will still have work. They're just not thinking that way.
Yeah. Or it could be turned into a different situation. Let's say the labs. Let's say, now we need to change the way the labs operate to offer the 80 marker blood test. There's more people being hired there. That's just one little component of what would take place if the insurance companies kind of saw it in a different light. So what would you suggest for somebody if they're not feeling well, they would reach out to you, and how does your process work with them?
So they could just contact me. They can call me at 719-590-9879. They can email me at fitfocus@qwestoffice.net. They can get on my website, which is optimalwellnessllc.com. And they could start with my book. They can just go on my website and click on my nutrition book and start there, because my nutrition book is written for everyone. It's written to empower the patient to be their own best detective. It's there to give information about how the body utilizes nutrients, and it talks about the physiology of biochemistry. My book has been written like a mini textbook, a mini reference book, so everyone could just start there. That would be a very least cost way of learning about how to get healthy and well.
I don't cook.
You don't have to cook. You have to do some kind of preparation, but you don't have to cook. A lot of people will eat fast food, but fast food is what's ruining our bodies, and it's what's causing elevated lipids and hydrochloric acid insufficiency and all the problems that people are having. You have to do some kind of preparation. You don't have to call it cooking. But the book goes into detail, and the book is called Nutrition Diagnostics, Healing Through Impairment, and you can just get it on my website.
So since you're a clinical nutritionist, let's start with maybe some tips for people. You just mentioned fast food. Sometimes you can't avoid it. You need a quick fix, got to eat, don't have time. Is there anything that's okay to eat when it comes to a fast food place?
No, and really that's just
that
a
hurt.
cop-out.
By the way, that hurt, Kelly.
That's a cop-out. There's always time to make food in advance, make it in bulk, have a cooler in your car. Grab something fast, chop up some fruits and vegetables, have some guacamole or some hummus. It's very simple just to grab things that are already pre-made or that you made. It just doesn't take much time. It takes minutes to live a healthy life. You just have to think a little differently.
I guess if you get in the mindset of it and the practice of doing it, then you'll just automatically do it, and you won't look at those 5 minutes to make that, prep something. laborious. It's like, yeah, all right, take me a couple of minutes. I'm out the door. Just going to throw it in a cooler bag or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Um, what about a fast food place that we order salad? Is that still just not a good idea?
Well, it's a better choice, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, lettuce is going to be better than French fries.
Yep. But then, first thing that comes to mind, you need protein. Where's the protein going to come from? There's going to be, let's say, chicken in that salad from the fast food restaurant. And what's that chicken going to be? Loaded with sodium, right? And maybe not the healthiest, I guess.
Well, it's not that, it's just not loaded with sodium is just one aspect. The foods that you get, if you're not getting organic foods, you're getting genetically modified foods, you're getting poisonous foods. So if it's not organic and it's not in its pure form, grass-fed, grass-finished, that's what they do organic for the cow. We need to have better practices. Our big agriculture has not, they kind of destroyed our food system, but it really, to make those better choices and really choose organic meats, fruits, and vegetables, you'll be much healthier in the long run, because if you eat poisonous foods, in the long run, you're going to have more disease. It's just the way it is.
So I want to get in the world of Kelly Calabrese. What'd you have for lunch? Or if you hadn't had lunch, what are you going to have?
I'm going to have, I make all my food from scratch. So I'm going to have homemade chicken soup. So I've grilled the organic chicken on the grill. I've marinated it in lemon and olive oil. I put salt and pepper on that. And then I sauteed carrots, fennel, and onion, and used some chicken broth. And that's my lunch.
I'm coming over to Kelly's house. I'm gonna pass by, insert name of fast food restaurant. Just keep going. Just, go to Kelly.
I don't see fast food place. When people say, "Oh, it's over by McDonald's," I'm like, I don't know where McDonald's is. Like, because when I drive around, I don't see fast food places. I don't see them.
Interesting. It's almost like you become immune to it. You're numb to it. It's just not on your radar.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
Yeah. I guess it's all just, it's a way of life. Once you get into that, then you automatically, you don't want it anymore. And fast food restaurants, again, loaded with sodium. And that's how a lot of people get hooked. I need to get a fix. I don't know what it is. I got to go there. I got to, you're craving sodium. That's what it is a lot of times.
Well, you're craving the chemicals they're putting in fast food for the brain to say, I need more of that. It's purposeful. There's certain chemicals in fast food for people to crave and want more fast food. It actually is a brain response.
See, I never knew that. I just thought it was sodium related. So how do they get away with putting certain chemicals, by way of the FDA? How does that even, allowed to be done?
Well, the FDA is a bad word.
Well, as I'm learning, especially when it comes to food labels, how there's so little regulation in terms of the terminology that's used on labels. Like, they get away with a lot of stuff.
Well, that's where the Organic Consumers Association comes in, and we've fought hard. And the Organic Consumers Association is an amazing organization in our country, OCA.org, and they have fought to have the labeling that we have. So we have labeling for organic, we have a label for non-GMO, we have those labels now, and we have labels to show fats, trans fats, protein, carbs, and fats in the labels. So no, we actually have the labeling now, and I'm grateful.
Final thoughts. You said organic, and I always wonder, let's say you're in the grocery store, should you gravitate towards something organic? Obviously, it's going to cost more. Is it worth it?
Yes, it's worth it, because you're not eating as much, because you're getting more nutrients. That's what happens when you don't have nutrients in the food. You have to eat more. So if you have nutrients in the food, then you're not eating as much. So it comes out to be about the same cost.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Because then I guess also at the same time, you're controlling your weight too, because you're probably eating less as well.
Yes, and really, when it comes down to, if you're not getting your fat, you're getting in carbs, and carbs is what's creating obesity in our country. You really have to look at what you're eating, and all these fad diets have screwed up our thinking, and it's just unbelievable. But we have to reduce our starchy carb intake. We really do have to reduce that.
Got a second left here. I just want to go back to the 80 marker blood test because you mentioned it the last time we talked, and I just want to have a better reference point. You go to take a basic blood test, go to the doctor. Hey, it's time for my yearly, whatever. What's the difference between your 80 marker blood test and the typical blood test that's given?
The practitioner that's reading it.
But
The practitioner that's reading it, because I'm trained differently. I'm trained differently to see what needs to be seen in the blood test to actually get to the root cause and resolve those health disorders.
Gotcha. And if you were given not the 80 marker, I'm talking, you just go to your regular doctor and they give you the script for a blood test. Can we say markers? Are we talking like 20 markers compared to the 80 marker blood test that you administer?
That's right.
Is it 20?
Yeah, it's about 20.
Oh, I just threw that out there. But wow, what a big difference. We're talking, 4 times or whatever. Interesting. Wow. And that's where it starts with you. Kelly, tell everybody your website and how they reach out to you and how the process works. Is it a discovery call? How does it work?
People can call me anytime. Again, my phone number is 719-590-9879. I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado. My website is optimalwellnessllc.com. My company is Optimal Wellness Solutions. And they can reach out to me anytime.
To your point, we all want to be healthy, and at least at the very minimum, one time in your life, do something that's a little bit more than you normally do, because you might be surprised that what you find is connected to why you're not feeling as good as you think you should be feeling. You have no idea unless you take that step.
Knowledge is power.
I always say that. I totally agree with you. Kelly, great talking with you. And thanks for all the knowledge today. We learned a lot.
And one more thing.
Sure.
I provide real solutions to real health problems.
Yep. And I appreciate that. All right. We'll catch up next time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Care.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.